Hi, I am Dr. Amitabh Banerjee, an epidemiologist. So I have written a story about King. Let us call it King Corona. That is for future generations of children. And the title of the story, it will be a fairy tale for children. It is King Corona and his descendants. How long will the dynasty last? We had those dynasties of royal dynasties. So we are talking about a royal family of viruses. They also have a royalty. So as you all know, you must be seeing the news. Corona is in the media once again, precipitating a deja vu feeling and some amount of panic among the people. Among viruses and microorganisms, King Corona, King Corona and its descendants enjoy royalty status. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. This classic quote from Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet, is well known, but does it hold well in current times? The events during the past 5 years challenge the bard's view. You see, when Shakespeare wrote this, there was no media, but now we are in the era of 24 into 7 media. They can hatch on to a name and raise it to any status, royalty status. Wolfgang Wodarg, the German physician and politician, he is a pulmonologist, drew criticism from German scientist when he stated that the SARS-CoV-2 was similar to existing coronaviruses. Early in the pandemic, he gave this statement, which are commoners. So the other are commoner and go undetected during the seasonal spikes of respiratory viral infections. The seasonal spikes are well known since ages. Of it includes the flu, common cold, other viruses, and he says if it had not got a separate name, it would have gone unnoticed. But he drew a lot of criticism. He implied what this German physician Wolfgang Wodarg implied that giving a separate name to the new member of the coronavirus family started the tragedy of errors. Tragedy of errors. King Corona, I can say tragedy of errors. Grapevine has it that King Corona did not evolve biologically, but in an occult laboratory. But the royal courtiers who conferred royalty status on the new king of viruses, contested these rumors hotly, hotly. The baptism of the new virus by giving it a name conferred royalty status, placing it head over soldiers among the other coronaviruses causing the common cold. It wasn't a commoner any longer. It became first among equals. King Corona acquired the reputation of being a cruel monarch. Nowadays, media does the rest. And wherever it went, it found deserted streets, schools and markets. Fearing slaughter, people hid in their houses. They did not venture out or allowed their kids to play in the open or go to the park. Wherever it traveled, it met little resistance and in no time conquered all the continents. Even Alexander the Great would have envied King Corona. The rulers of most countries in these continents used the reputation of King Corona to advantage to control the masses. They decreed that all cover their faces while stepping out to avoid the wrath of King Corona. Only King Corona and its close allies, the world leaders, were allowed to bare their faces or hold public rallies. But all commoners were told to cover their faces. King Corona will get angry. The modus operandi of King Corona and its allies, practically all world governments, was using fear is the key. Towards this end, legend around King Corona conveying to the frightened masses that it can kill both young and old started emerging. And like all legends, these exaggerated the true potential of King Corona. Like a cowardly warrior, King Corona killed only the old and infirm and those with comorbidities or those too slothful and obese as a consequence. It was no match for the young and healthy. Fear and panic forced all and sundry to stay indoors. And parents forbade children to step out or attend school. World government declared war on King Corona and its allies, armies, that is the thousand of its progenies, mutants, variants of concern. The world government declared war on King Corona and its progenies. Many bidders to supply the arms and ammunition to fight the supposedly wicked King Corona and his descendants called variants of concern sprang overnight. Many bidders. These arms and ammunition were in the form of the king's new vaccine. Earlier days, we had the emperor's new clothes. Now we have the emperor's new vaccines. So these bidders were in the form of supplying arms and ammunition like the king's new vaccines, testing kits, ventilators, and drugs like remdesivir. Some of the hastily developed arms and ammunition occasionally killed innocents due to collateral damage. But the war strategist brushed it aside as the rarest of rare events and said that people should be thankful that this is a tiny cost for saving the masses from the wrath of King Corona. Over time, dynasties weaken. The latest progenies of the King Corona, descendants of Omicron sub-dynasty JN1, to be coronated and conferred royal status are two weak entities, LF.7 and NB1.8. They have been granted sultanates in South Asian viral kingdoms of Singapore, Hong Kong, and Thailand. Like distant progenies of any dynasty, they have become weaker than the commoners of the virus kingdom, but because of their lineage, royal lineage, they still enjoy the status of the royalty. To keep the fear of the Corona dynasty alive, courtiers and advisors are holding high level meetings and drawing contingency plans in case it invades more territories. Once trumpet blowers, that is the media, generate public panic, it would be easier to attract bidders to come forward and support the war against a potential invasion by engaging in contracts for arms and ammunition, that is, vaccines and test kits. Without fear, there is no money to be made. The latest progenies, that is, the variants, may be far weaker, but they are still descendants of the royal King Corona. The courtiers are whispering, and the trumpet blowers, that is, the media, are taking up the battle cry. What is the way forward out of this dynastic rule of slavery of the masses? The world has to get out of the mass hysteria, the obsession of the masses around King Corona and its dynastic domination needs to be addressed to restore the social and mental health of the population. Lessons from the Bhagavad Gita can help us in this endeavor. We have come to the present state through three phases: tamas, rajas, and sattva, described in chapter 14, verse 10 of the Bhagavad Gita. Tamas signifies darkness, destitution, and chaos, which were present in the early days of the pandemic. We are 5 years down the line. We had no reason for tamas, and nothing was known about King Corona, resulting in mass casualties due to poor battle plans. That phase was followed by rajas, means passion, misdirected passion and action, misdirected action, often wrong, and confusion, mostly due to flip-flop by WHO, CDC, and other institutions. Now is the time for moving to the third phase of sattva and cool thinking, when signifies goodness, constructive action, and harmony. Symbiotic relations with the latest descendants of King Corona, Omicron, live and let live. So we should have peaceful coexistence with a virus which has lost its all virulence. It is a mutant, distant cousin, distant descendants of King Corona. The descendants, the subsequent variants of the original King Corona have adapted these principles of live and let live. They have adapted this. They are not killing people now. They are not causing very mild illness. And this also, according to the Darwin's law of adaptation. These adaptations are by way of mutations, natural phenomena, not new, due to errors during replication, transfer of the royal armory. They have not inherited all the weapons of King Corona. So they have lost their virulence, armory, royal armory. They did not lost in these losses of virulence, lethal weapons. They have lost the lethal weapon. The royalty is there, but unarmed royalty. Adapt the weak descendants to successful parasitism. They are just parasites which are just satisfied, not harming the host, just beneficial to both humans and the royal viruses. Only unarmed, non-lethal royal descendants or viruses spread far and wide, while the armed ones or the virulent ones go down with the victim and do not spread. You see, those descendants or those viruses, mutants which are very lethal, they will die with the victim. Only mild ones spread. So now we are living in a era when all the descendants, the various mutants have become very mild, just like common cold. 5 years are like 5 centuries for King Corona dynasty. 5 years for a virus lineage is 5 centuries for humans, because virus, they multiply every day, more than 5 centuries. The descendants have become parasites residing peacefully with privy purses. They are getting some privy purses, or some other people are filling up their purses by the shouting the royal name in the throats of majority of humankind. Majority of humankind, we are having the, if you test, you will find peacefully lying there. Every day, over 25,000 Indians die due to various big country, 25,000 deaths every day due to various conditions. And if before death everybody gets the RT-PCR done, they take a sample of all people who are dying, they will get thousands of RT-PCR positive, and by the distorted attributability of death, anyone with RT-PCR positive is labeled with a as a corona death. Even now, the sensation was there are two deaths in Mumbai. Then later, when you just read the news, you find one was both cases were having terminal illnesses. One was having cancer, other one was having terminal kidney failure, and it incidentally they are found to have a. So this is the ये कि if 25,000 deaths are there, anytime it can be, the panic can be raised by just increasing the testing, and that's what now they have had meeting at the highest level, and they say we increase the testing and all that. So naturally panic will increase because more tests, more positive, without any ICU filling up, hospital beds filling up, without any. So this is the story of King Corona, and so everything is focused on the royalty. Wherever it is going and the descendants are going, they are getting red carpet treatment. So this will, if you just test, increase, the numbers will go up, and the media will be the trumpet blowers, royal trumpet blowers. The media can drive public panic again, and people will rush for purchase of arms, that is vaccines, and cover their faces, suffocating themselves with face mask. Again, they will in the summer of, they will be going and suffocating themselves or getting booster doses. In our obsession with the royalty among the viruses, the real bandits among the pathogens take a heavy toll of lives every day. We are just giving the royalty, but here the bandits are killing Indians daily. Tuberculosis kills over 1,400 young people daily, and over 2,000 children die in India from preventable causes. Then we have got a dengue, chikungunya, Zika, scrub typhus, leptospirosis, typhoid, malaria. Many others continue their frequent raids on our population. No monitoring, no surveillance, hardly have any data. We have got a tuberculosis and child death, see 1,400, 2,000. Then recently, over 200 cases of paralyzing Guillain-Barré syndrome with 11 deaths, the largest number of cases in public health history in such a short time, occurred in Pune, presumably due to bacterial contamination of drinking water with Campylobacter jejuni. Though other causes like Zika could not be ruled out. At one time, Guillain-Barré is the rare condition, and clustering couple of months, more than 200 cases and 11 deaths. What unusual things are happening. Policymakers should note that these are our real enemies and not the benign King Corona or an imaginary future pandemic of Royalty X. We are waiting for Disease X pandemic and signing the pandemic treaty. So these are daily we are having bigger problems than the pandemics. The common viruses, the commoners, and the bandits which kill, like tuberculosis and child malnutrition. But regrettably, we are being drawn to sign a treaty to fight the royalties only. The treaties we are signing, we will be fighting only royalties, new discovery, new viruses, which may have very mild, but ferociousness will be hyped up by the trumpet blowers. So we are going towards signing a treaty, neglecting, only fighting the royalties among the viruses. We are being drawn to sign a treaty to fight the royalties only at the risk of surrendering our country's autonomy to an unelected, undemocratic body like the WHO. So this was the story of King Corona. I think it will be popular among the children about the story about